Welcome to the George W. Bush Presidential Center. We're so excited that you're here with us today virtually and look forward to showing you around the museum. Come on, let's go inside. So today we're inside our special exhibit, Liberty and Laughter, the lighter side of the White House. And one thing that I think is interesting is that as you study the arc of humor throughout the presidency, from our founding fathers through to the present day, one thing becomes apparent, and that's the essential nature of levity and laughter in a thriving democracy. So here in this first gallery, we've got a number of things. Chief among them is President and Mrs. Bush, in their own words, discussing why humor was important to them when they were at the White House. I won't spoil any of the fun, but I can tell you President Bush makes a lot of really funny faces, so it's worth watching when you're here. Another fun story, which I won't spoil, but we'll give you the highlights of, relates to this bust. President Bush tells it a lot better than I ever will, so I'll let you watch it in the video. However, the synopsis is one of President Bush's lead staffers at the White House pulled one over on him and swapped out a Winston Churchill bust in the Oval Office for this bust of himself to see how long it took for the president to notice. Quite comical. We also have these larger-than-life scrapbooks. They're actually pretty fun to walk through. They go anywhere from staying active in the White House, Nixon, bowling. There was apparently a lot of bowling that happened at the White House. Who knew? Amy Carter and her dollhouse. President Bush riding a bicycle around the Oval Office that was a gift from Prime Minister Koizumi of Japan. Barbara Bush with her two dogs. Very interesting. Let's move into the next gallery. So in this gallery, we examine why free speech, humor, and satire are important components of a thriving democracy. As it turns out, satire and humor are not new as it relates to the presidency. All the way back to the early 1800s, these political cartoons reflect how comedy has been involved in reflecting the story of the presidency over time. One of my favorites is Old Mother Lincoln, dressed up in this New York Illustrated News cartoon. On this wall, we have Humor is Exaggeration, which is a collection of bobbleheads. One of my personal favorites is Abraham Lincoln, who I think wins the prize for the most number of nicknames. Now, it's difficult to pick the meanest nickname, but Tricky Dick, Old Grandmother, and Bubba are probably amongst my current favorites. Let's go into the next gallery. As we follow the Pursuit of Happiness path into the next gallery, which runs the length of the exhibit, you'll note that several presidents and first ladies are awarded superlatives like quippiest, wittiest, and most mischievous. As we move through the exhibit, please make note and let us know who your favorite is. In this gallery, we examine high-risk performances and how presidents and candidates have leveraged humor over time. On this particular wall, you'll see presidential debates, candidates and presidents in high-risk situations that come prepared with one-liners and good zingers. One of my personal favorites is Ronald Reagan discussing age in the Dukakis debates. Then on this wall, you'll see another high-risk performance, a presidential news conference. Obviously, there's probably no more high-profile engagement than a president talking with the press. Underneath each of these panels, you'll see how presidents have leveraged different types of humor and comedic relief to engage, defend, and deflect questions from the press. And so too, on this matrix, you'll see how each president ranks over time in their engagement with the press, from cold shoulder when necessary, all the way to open arms when it's in their benefit. Let's move into the next gallery. So in this gallery, we explore how presidents also serve as entertainers in chief at things like the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and in addition, also have to frequently display acts of unique skill, like President Clinton playing the saxophone on the Arsenio Hall show. It's also worth noting that in recent presidential history, presidential impersonators have become the mainstay, from President Obama to President John F. Kennedy. One of my personal favorites, of course, is Dana Carvey playing President George H.W. Bush on Saturday Night Live, which, interestingly enough, ended up forming a lifelong friendship between the two that continued through his passing. Let's go on to the next gallery. In this next gallery, we explore how presidents and first ladies have pivoted and used humor in the technological age. In particular, with television, we see Michelle Obama on Carpool Karaoke, George W. Bush on Jay Leno's The Tonight Show, Johnny Carson with President Ronald Reagan, all using humor to connect with their audience. And with the evolution of social media, we see Barack Obama doing a first ever interview with Zach Galifianakis, winning actual awards for creativity between two ferns. Before you leave the gallery, don't forget to sit and spend time answering one or more of the questions that we pose here. My favorite, which president or first lady do you think is funniest and why? If your answer is particularly witty, you may find yourself displayed in one of these cases. Let's move on to the last gallery. So on our way out, make sure you take time to stop and match your mirthmate. I'm embarrassed to report that my mirthmate is actually President Taft. And no, I haven't gotten stuck in a White House bathtub. But as it turns out, I take after my boss and am more likely to tell self-deprecating jokes to get the room to laugh. Again, you'll see the big scrapbooks, which are fun to browse through. And we'd be remiss before we left if we didn't thank our sponsors for making this exhibit possible: the Hearst Foundation, the Dallas Tourism Public Improvement District, Texas de Brazil, and FlexJet. I've certainly enjoyed showing you around Liberty and Laughter, the lighter side of the White House, and hope that you'll come and visit us soon. Have a great day.